You know, when DeForest Kelly was given a chance to act on Star Trek, boys used to hit it out of the park. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today's review will be which I consider one of the most underrated episodes of Star Trek, the original series, starring the beautiful and talented and statuesque Julie Newmar. It's called Friday's Child. Now, the second season of Star Trek was outstanding. This was the 11th episode of that second campaign of the American science fiction TV series. Written by D.C. Fontana and directed by Joseph Pevney. It was first broadcast December 1st, 1967, and is still considered a kind of a Christmas episode. In this one, the crew of the Enterprise become entangled in a planet's tribal power struggle. Adding to her difficulties the presence of the Klingons and a woman played by Julie Newmar, who does not want her unborn child. The episode's title is derived from a traditional English poem known as Bundy's Child. The references to a line in the 1887 Harper's Weekly version of the poem, Friday's Child is full of woe. Cinematography for this one, the great Jerry Finnerman, with featured music by Gerald Fried, which really adds to the episode. Michael Dantley plays Mob, Teague Andrews as Crass, Ben Gage as Akar, William Blackburn is back as Lieutenant Hadley, and of course Walker Edmondson as the voice of the SS Deidre. Now this was backed by two very interesting episodes. Journey to Babel was the previous one, and the next one was Deadly Years, so it was sort of what they call multiple battles of the mind. Now, this one, the USS Enterprise, under the command of Kirk, arrives at Capella 4 to negotiate a mining contract for a valuable mineral. The Capellans are huge individuals, violent and warlike, but scrupulously honest. Kirk beams down to the planet with Dr. McCoy, First Officer Spock, and a security officer. They find that Krass, a Klingon emissary, is already present. The Capellans order Kirk and his party to hand over their weapons, as the Klingon has done, and despite killing Kirk's security escort for drawing a weapon on the Klingon, treat the party as honored guests. And of course, McCoy has dealt with them before, and the famous line where he puts down the Klingons, I don't want to say it, you'll have to see it for yourself if you've never seen it the first time, one of the best lines McCoy ever uttered on the show. Now, the Capellan's leader, Akar, favors the Federation's offer over that of the Klingons. However, another Capellan named Mob challenges his leadership. Fighting breaks out among the Capellans, and Mob kills Akar, winning the title of Tier leader for himself. He eventually orders the death of Eileen, Akar's pregnant wife, because her unborn child represents competition to Mob's rule. Mob rule, get it? Kirk, Spock, and McCoy manage to escape with Eileen into some nearby hills. While a party of Capellans pursue them, McCoy is determined to assist with Eileen's pregnancy, despite her cultural prohibition against physical contact with a Tier's wife. He succeeds in winning her cooperation, even slaps her around a little bit to get it, but she cannot reconcile herself to bearing a child who in her culture would belong to no one. McCoy tells her to repeat the words, "The child is mine," but she misinterprets this, thinking McCoy is claiming the child as his own. The delivery is successful, but Kirk is unable to reach Enterprise using her communicators because the starship has been drawn away by a false distress call. The Capellans arrive, and Eileen escapes to surrender to Mob, claiming that she killed the humans. When Krass questions her story, he pulls out a Federation phaser that he retrieved earlier and threatens everybody. Mob sacrifices himself to draw Krass's fire, and a Capellan warrior kills the Klingon with one of those flying, swords or daggers. A team from Enterprise appears and prevents further violence. Now, back on the Enterprise, it was revealed that Eileen, acting as her son's regent, has authorized a mining agreement with the Federation, and that the child has been named Leonard James Akar. Because of this, Spock predicts that Kirk and McCoy will be insufferably pleased with themselves for at least a month. Now, writer D.C. Fontana said she wanted a story about a strong woman in one of her teleplays who did not necessarily want children. Original idea was used largely unchanged, with the major exception being the addition of the Klingons. Now, Zach Hanlon of the AV Club gave the episode a B+ rating, praising it for giving McCoy a stronger presence and better lines. And this is McCoy's episode from start to finish. But why Friday's Child works, because Julie Newmar at the time was a very popular actress because of her appearances in Batman, Twilight Zone, other episodic thing. And in the modern era, to Wong Fu, thanks for everything, Julie Newmar. She had that big cameo in that, transvestite, transgender movie with Leguizamo, Snipes and Swayze, one of the better movies of the decade of the 90s. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's the story of Friday's Child. If you like what we're doing with our Star Trek podcast, give us a like, comment, subscribe, or share. Peace and long life.